so much for being here. This is our very first live taping of the Austin Downbeat. I want to say a quick thank you to FiveFive Stage, Nick, somewhere around here, for partnering with me in this. Having you guys here is really special to me. I know it's really cold, but let's get a round of applause going for my guests tonight. We have Natalie Price and David Jimenez. Come on to the stage. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happening. It's so nice to have you back. It's been a little while since I've seen you. I want to talk a little bit about what you've been up to this year, but let's talk a little bit about last year too, because I know both of you have some stuff cooking that started last year. Let's start with you. I know you've been busy. You spent some time in Europe. Can you talk a little bit about what you were doing?
I was representing Austin music at a flower show, Hampton Court Palace Flower Show. So I was booked by the tourism agency here in town, and they took me and another artist. And it was definitely the most unique music experience that I've had so far. Like, it's an incredible thing that happens. And at one point I was playing in a garden that had been built over the course of 2 weeks to represent the U.S.
Oh,
It was I've just never climbed up on a rock next to a cactus and played for a bunch of people walking by, and then it rained 2 seconds later, so we're running around, and it was a lot of fun.
And that was in England, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then did you spend some time in France?
I did.
Well, doing the same thing?
Not at Flower Gardens.
Okay.
But I have a friend who lives in the northwest part, who is a French artist, Ariana Monteverdi. And she booked a couple of shows, and I spent some time with her. And so we spent some time in Nantes, and then south mountainy areas that I can see the spelling in my head that maybe can't pronounce. And it was so beautiful, and the people were so wonderful. And then we spent a day in Paris.
What's the music scene like? I feel like we're so lucky here in Austin, and I understand, deeply what we have here and just the particulars of it. What was the difference between what we have here kind of going on versus in Europe? Like, what's the music scene like there where you are they as beloved in the community as much as they are here?
It's hard to say because the slice I'm experiencing is as a foreigner who's coming in to play music.
Yeah.
A lot of the gigs that I think you typically get are gigs where you're playing cover songs and not necessarily original music.
Yeah.
So in that sense, Austin's really unique and a wonderful thing that so much original music is played in this town, and you can get paid to play original music. That's a gift.
Yeah, it is. Have you ever spent any time anywhere else, like overseas or anything like that?
Yeah, I've been on a few tours to Europe, and just to piggyback on that, Austin is unique to most cities in America with that, as far as being paid to sing original music the whole time. So like, not even just Europe, like just here in the States.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody's having to do the cover thing.
Yeah. Is it just that the majority of people just don't want to spend the time getting to know something and hearing something that they've never heard before? I can understand wanting to hear cover music, I guess, in certain circumstances. But
No, absolutely.
What's the disconnect for people, do you guys think, between cover and original?
I think we've done a better job of creating a place where that is just accepted as the thing. Like, if you go to any other major city, like, music is definitely prevalent, but it's also just kind of this thing, like anything else. We need cups, we need silverware, we need music, I guess. But here it's like, well, we want to open a music venue, and Texas has such a rich tradition of songwriters and performers that were, honoring tradition, but trying to do a thing that, like they were trying to add their chapter to something.
Yeah.
So
It might also be just business. Like, you have a bar, people are going to be there, and you're going to advertise live music. We gravitate towards what we feel like is like us and what we already know. And so, like, and just as a musician, you're more likely to get maybe that $20 tip if you play that one Britney song.
Sure.
Like people know it, they're like, oh yeah. And if you do a really great cover, like it just brings people in because it's something they know and something they love.
It's something for them to kind of sink their teeth into.
Even marketing, like unless you just have a song that zings somebody and it's just like, whoa, and everyone's listening, which it happens, but maybe not for all of us all the time. Like it's just marketing, right? Like you have to see something 7 times or like hear something before it sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like a faster, and bar owners and venue, it's mainly like bars and breweries and that might want more cover music, want you to play cover music because people will stay if they're enjoying it, and I don't know. It's just like, it's kind of business.
Yeah.
You get more tips maybe, and the bar has more people there.
And to be fair, if they're drunk enough, you can just tell them it's a Britney song and play whatever you want anyway, and they'll be like, yeah.
You're probably better at that than I am.
I feel like you need to learn. I would love to see David Jimenez do a Britney song.
I mean,
should we just do that?
I'll take that challenge.
I challenge you. Ooh, I challenge you. So pick a Britney song and cover it. I would love to hear
I
that.
could probably do a pretty down and dirty version of Toxic.
Toxic? Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
For day one. Yeah.
I feel like maybe you do it together.
I'm down.
Let's do it.
Great. You guys saw it here. We're going to listen some Toxic. I love it. I love it. Let's go to you. You've been busy last year starting it, but this year it's coming out, right? We're going to get a new album out of David Jimenez, everybody. So good.
The Last Jimenez?
The Last Jimenez. Yes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was really fortunate enough to get a lot of work playing guitar on a lot of people's records last year. And, you know, you get lost in the shuffle of gigs and just trying to, you know, make the ends meet. You kind of put your thing on the back burner for a while, but I was working with so many great songwriters who wanted to make great records and wanted to make records that you know, change their location a little bit. And that was kind of what I was struggling with. Like, I've been in this business a little, like, not too long, but I've been in here long enough to know how to survive just about any situation that kind of gets thrown on you. Yeah. And because I developed that skill so much, I kind of let the artist fade a little bit. And that was kind of disappointing as I was noticing how fulfilling that is, like whether or not, you know, how many people hear the record. So in doing that, the studio is the finishing school
with Gordy, right?
With Gordy Quest, who produced the record for me and was just instrumental in kind of helping me get to that point that I was like, oh wait, like I write songs and I should make records too. So so it took a little while to kind of get everything together, but we had a really good conversation about the intent, and like that's something that I think everybody, you can't think too much on that. Like, what is your intention? What is the thing you want? Like, not even the thing you want to get out of it. Like, what, like when it's done, what's going to make you feel satisfied? And yes, that's what I set out to do. And for better or worse, that's what it is. So that's what this record was. I made it kind of at the end of the summer, like going into July, late June. And little by little, I was piecing it together throughout the rest of the year, doing a little vocals here, a little guitar here, whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
And now it's done, and I'm kind of like, I'm not being precious about it, but I kind of want to see if anybody's interested in putting it out on a label or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to spend too much time getting caught up in that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking springtime, the latest, like it'll be out in some capacity.
In some form. Can you talk a little bit about, like, go back to when you're talking about deciding what you want to say or what the tone of it is or what the intent, or can you tell us what that was for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've used this analogy recently that I have 3 glasses on a table. One of them is singing, one of them is songwriting, one of them is guitar playing. And my sink is kind of far away, and the cup that I have to pour into the other cups is not as big. So I feel like I've been kind of chasing my tail and trying to make all of the glasses even. And, you know, 10 years ago, maybe I should have been like, let's just break 2 glasses and fill one up as quickly as possible. But the journey that I've been on is to really have all that be on a really high level. Like it's not just about the guitar playing. It's not just about the singing. It's not just about the songwriting. It's all of that. So I just started running back to the sync faster and just trying to get them all even. And that's kind of what the record was. Like I have these songs that I feel are really great, can really connect with people. I don't want anything to overshadow the other. Like I don't want to be, I mean, pigeonholes is not the right word, but I want 3 chances to grab people. Like what, if it's the melody that gets you first, great. If it's the riff, awesome. If it's the words, even better, you know?
Well, I can tell you, I was just at one of your shows the other night, Friday nights, 8:30 at Continental Club upstairs in the gallery, and you pack that place. And if the record is anything, if it comes through the way that you come through in that room, I mean, I feel like all 3 of those things come across, and you have people dancing and like literally sardined in there. I mean, you feel the love in that gig. Right?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite rooms to play. It's like a little church for me. And and playing that room actually really helped shape that thing and got me thinking about that, because it can get rowdy in there. Like it can get people are dancing, sweating, but you can also like bring it way down and like really really affect people with, you know, what you're singing as opposed to what you're playing and how you're singing.
And the way that you are, it's like so, well, how do you categorize yourself? It's like bluesy and soul and like, you know, getting down music.
That's pretty good.
It's like Barry White, but not Barry White, but like what Barry White makes you want to do. You know what I'm saying? No, it's just it's so good. And your guitar playing is like, I always say when I'm describing David Jimenez, he will mend your heart and melt your face at the very same time. It's like just absolutely fantastic to watch. Well, good. So you feel good about it?
Yeah, I feel great about it.
Yeah.
I'm really
ready to root and sit into the world.
Yes. Ready to move on to the next
thing. Have a baby.
So I should put it up pretty soon.
Yeah, you should. Awesome. So, and you were also last year super busy doing, let's see, you did the Europe thing, and then you did Texas Songwriter U.
It was announced last year, but it comes up next month.
Yeah. What was the process to get involved with them? Can you explain a little bit about Texas Songwriter U?
Well, I know I don't think I've actually attended in person before, but there is a performance element at the Saxon Pub. And then there's like a writer's retreat element with like mentors from as I understand it, mentors from the industry. And then I think there is actually a winner. There's like 8 finalists, and then I don't exactly know how they figure all of that out, but that comes up in mid-February.
And you're playing at the Saxon Pub
the 11th
on February 11th, right?
As a part of that, to I guess get into it, it's like a standard contest entry where you fill out a form and you submit a couple of songs. And it's, if you've ever entered a songwriting contest, it's very similar. But I love that it's for people born in Texas, or you have to have been here at least 5 years. And so it's really like pushing into the Texas element and really trying to build up and elevate Texas artists, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is. Speaking of writing songs, you also won the grand prize for new song.
That's true.
Yes. Tell me about that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I'm not used to winning things, so that's just strange.
For songwriting.
Yeah, I think it's the first like bigger contest that I've won. So, and I've applied multiple years, and I've been applying for contests probably for 10 years. So I don't know.
What song won it?
I don't. That's hard to say. I think that I can't remember. They're all different. What you have to enter to get in.
Oh, gotcha.
And I think it was probably 2 or 3 songs that you submitted, and I think I submitted album recordings or whatever the best recording of those songs. And then in the actual contest, I think it was 8 finalists, and there were several rounds where the judges were like narrowing it down, and so I ended up playing, I think, 5 songs over the course of that. Yeah.
And you just released an album last year. I was at your release at 04 Center where you did a thing with Ruby Dice, which was awesome. And I love that you played the album from front to back in order, which was so cool.
That does never happen.
take
It's
us
a
through
great
the journey.
excuse to do it.
I know.
I agonized over the order. Might as well play it that way one time.
And I loved it that you did that because it reminded me of when I was a little girl. You know, I've been listening to music since I was tiny and, you know, laying on my stomach at the record player and opening the vinyl and just reading and really caring about, you know, the structure and all that. So I love that you did that. You want to talk a little bit about making that album and tell
Sure.
everyone about it? It's so good.
Thank you. A lot of the songs, at least 50%, if not more, was written during 2020. There's a really old song I pulled, and I mean, we all went through a roller coaster of emotions, and I lost my grandma that year. And just, there are so many elements of that year that were really, one of the things that I never want to stop being grateful. That was one thing that came out of that. There's a song on there, What We Daydream Now, and it's just about singing about super small and normal things, like 7 people in a backyard with a guitar and no masks, and that being okay. And at the time I wrote the song, it wasn't okay. And even all of us being in this room in person with no masks.
Yeah.
What a privilege, right? Yeah. I mean, and you don't really know what you have until it's gone. So a lot of the album came from that. I had been listening to a couple of other albums that were kind of inspiring the sound. And then I had several ideas that were bad ideas for how to do the album. And I ended up talking to different people trying to figure out who would produce it. And I landed on Mary almost by accident. I was actually interviewing her because I wanted to work with someone else, but I was asking for her advice. And then this person has said they wanted to work with me, but they were very hard to get a hold of. And she was so generous with her time. And I was like, hold on, who's been most generous with their time and really invested in me? And I was like, it's Mary. And so I just went with her, and no regrets. Like, she's wonderful, very thoughtful, even directing in studio. Like, there's no pressure, there's no anxiety, but if you have anxiety, it's okay to have anxiety. Just talk it out. And there's no, some of the anxiety I had about going to Nashville, like a different city, and like working with total pros who will just nail it in 3 takes and play it better than I play it. Yeah. She, like, just the atmosphere she created was so wonderful, and I was able to be myself, able to sing naturally as myself, and that was really cool. And so the vision that I had, I was able to communicate that with her, and I feel like she really caught that, and I'm really proud of what we did together. Yeah, and I think we made something really special.
I love that album. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the little quiet spot.
Yes,
that's one of my favorite songs. I talk to a lot of people recording things. We talk a lot about going into studio. How do you prepare for something like that? It feels like such a big thing to prepare for when you know you're going to go in and record an album or even an EP. Yeah. What do you look for in a producer? What do you look for in a studio? Like, what are the tenets from your perspective?
In my case, what I really need a producer to do is remind me what the conversation was at the beginning. Because once and it's different, like when I go in the studio to help somebody realize their vision, like I'm super wide open. Yeah. Anything goes, like there's no wrong answers, but you want to get it right and you want to make the artist happy. When I'm going in as the artist, I'm almost having to focus a lot more at like I'm going for this very specific thing. And then if I'm way off, my producer will pull me out of whatever tailspin I might be in because I got something in my head and I just can't get it out, or if I'm defaulting to something that maybe isn't the right thing and it's not what we talked about in the beginning, but like I'm just kind of getting away from it, so you want to be prepared for sure, but you don't want to be immovable or a little too precious about certain things. So that producer's supposed to be there to kind of really help you balance. The classic job of a producer was really to be the liaison between the artist and the label, because the label was like, we're spending $20,000 on these kids, we don't want to
Don't mess it up.
we don't want to mess this up, so we're putting you in there. But then he's also there because the kids who are making the record are like, well, we trust you, so you had to do this balancing act. But now there kind of is no label, so the balancing act is in my own head. Really, the producer is kind of, because I'm spending the money, so I'm kind of the label going, hey,
Don't let me
don't let
mess
this
up.
guy just can I cuss?
Yes.
Don't let this guy just fuck around
Earmuffs. Sorry.
with all the cool gear, or like get down this rabbit hole thing. Like keep it on the path that we all thought, or we all agreed was the right path to take for these specific songs.
Does it help when you know the producer, or is it better if they're a stranger?
Sometimes, like that's the other thing. Like if you have a relationship with somebody, you really trust them, but you haven't like necessarily worked together, that could be really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe some people need somebody that's completely removed, but there obviously still has to be a respect there, or at least they like what the other has done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Fairly
Yeah.
similar for you.
That all makes sense. And what you said about like I'm not with a label, and so I'm the one that is like checking the books. Like, all right,
Right.
this wasn't in the budget. You know, like, all right, we're gonna need the extra days. So what is that gonna cost? And like, you have to access both business and like creative side, and like it's sometimes I can just get like locked out of the other side if I'm not careful. And for me, it's been really important so far to at least have a conversation. And I use the term interview, and that's a really like businessy term, I guess, but really just have a conversation and get to know someone and like see what is your working style like, and make sure I feel comfortable with that person, because I could be really shy and a little uncertain in the studio. And if I'm with someone who's just a bulldozer, then like it's going to be more their sound and less of me in it. Not necessarily, but it can happen. And I'm maybe extra sensitive to it as a woman too. But so it was really different working with, interesting and different in great ways. Brian worked on my first album, and he was really great. We had a conversation. I had a work day with him before the album where we workshopped a couple songs just to see like
How it works.
what happens when I express this or that. Like, how does he respond to me? And he's great. And I loved it. And we made a really great project together. And then I was really excited to work with Mary, because I've just never worked with a woman who's a producer, and it was also great. And I do know her, and all of our conversations we'd had, I felt both confident in her, and I felt like she respected me. I make sure to listen to what they've produced in the past. Mary's produced her own albums, so I had plenty of things to listen to. And because that is one thing too, if you listen to something that they produce and you're just not into it, you might not be into anything they make for you. And it's not like necessarily bad. It's just like, maybe it's not for you. And so I've learned to really follow my ears and really go with that as my instinct.
It also just feels like basic relationship stuff. Does this help you? Does your music help your relationships?
No, that's so nice.
You would think.
Musicians are the worst communicators. That's the real funny part of all this.
I can tell you it too.
Yeah. Yeah, we well, yeah, you
We get.
I'll keep going. Go on.
But isn't that ironic though?
yeah.
Why are you? I'm not saying you guys are, but why are musicians? Why do they tend to be bad communicators? They put it all in their song and they have nothing left.
I do often wonder whether you're a musician because of that, or
why are you guys musicians?
You're like that because you're a musician. There is something to that. Like if we were all just so good at expressing things in our day-to-day lives, maybe we wouldn't need to sit down and write a song. I don't know.
Oh gosh.
I don't know.
Why can you answer? I mean, do you know, like offhand, why you do this?
I'll go.
Tough
Yeah,
one.
come on.
You're looking at me like, your turn. Well, I feel like I tried everything else first, and I did all the things my parents were like, nah, don't do music, do math or do anything else that is a steady paycheck. What is it? 9 to 5 insurance and benefits, 9 to 5 insurance and benefits. Just like that was the mantra.
Sure.
And I sort of didn't even do that for a while. It was all these random jobs and nonprofits and things like passion jobs that I like am passionate about helping people and things. But through all of that, I was writing music. And like as a creator, are you this way? Sometimes creatives are this way where we start a bunch of things but don't necessarily finish them.
Absolutely.
Just talking about
Take
this.
up a bunch of hobbies. Like I'm gonna be really great at being a barista in my kitchen and get all this cool equipment and then like never use it. Or like I'm gonna be a cross stitcher, or like I'm gonna do this, or like I'm gonna paint and I'm terrible at painting, or like whatever it is. I'm gonna be really into working out and buy all of the gear and all the clothes and then never put them on. Like,
Yeah.
but throughout my life, it took me one moment of like, what have I done? Have I done anything consistently in my life? And I looked back, and since childhood, I have always written. I have created digital images through photography. Now it's just my phone, and have created music. And so when I was like looking at what do I do next and where do I invest my energy, I was like, well, what are the things that I've been consistent in naturally? Because I feel like that's where you go. You go to your strengths.
Yeah.
And in all of those other things I was doing, I'm like trying to think of all the random things I did. I worked at like a adventure camp. I like led a media team. I was like a story writer and a photographer. I drove for a laundry company for a while. Like all these random things I did. And the melodies never stopped in my head. That's what I say, is like the music wouldn't stop. And so I was like, fine, I'll do music. Like I can't not. And then sometimes I think that's how you not fall into it, but like you finally give up, like, okay, I can't stop it. Like I'm always playing with words in my brain and like, oh, that'd be an interesting, oh, that's a cool turn of phrase. And sometimes they jump into a melody and I'm like, just was sitting on a laundry truck, like I brought my little classical guitar and I was like, you know, sweating in the back of the truck, like writing bad songs.
I love that though.
So like I gave in, and I'm like, and then I also committed to it as well. And this is around maybe the commitment came around 2017, where I was like, okay, I can like pretend or play around and like, you know, be content with open mics and which are great and needed in your journey. And I was like, but also my guitar didn't plug in. Like those wonderful people who ran the open mics would like mic my guitar so that I could play a song. I was that person. And I was like, I know I need to upgrade my equipment. So like, am I really going to invest in this? And so like, you have to commit to yourself in the process.
I'm so glad you chose that thing to commit to.
Me too.
And that you follow through with it.
It's been the hardest, greatest thing.
You're so good. I love your voice so much.
Thank you.
And isn't it so cool? There's no one else that sounds like you. Like you're the only Natalie Price. And
Well, there's another Natalie Price.
But you know what I mean?
who sings music in the UK.
But I listen to both of your music in the car, and like just when I don't even have to. And I just like, both of you just have such unique. I mean, everyone has a unique voice, but I always feel so grateful that the person chose to do it, because it's so. I don't think I could ever do it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I love your music and your voice. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
thanks,
it's great.
I mean, why do you do it? Do you know the answer yet?
Well, I not to get too like
Are you gonna cry?
heavy cosmic. No, yeah.
You can cry.
Not to get too like heavy
I got a
cosmic
shoulder.
about it. Yeah, thank you. I do feel like it chooses you, and you can choose to like answer the call, you know, or not. But like you'll be way happier if you just answer the call and do.
And always wonder what if. That was the other thing too, is like, if I don't do this, I'm always going to wonder what if.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely not going to wonder what would have happened if I went into math.
Even then I was like, what do you do with math? You teach, you're an actuary or a statistician, and I wasn't interested in any of those things.
Boring.
I was terrible at math, so that wasn't
more
even an
school.
option for me. Yeah,
Perfect.
more school.
Well, speaking of that, we're not going to have to wait any longer. Let's hear you guys play some of your music.
All right.
Yes? How do we feel about that? All right. All right. We'll take a little quick break and reset the stage, and we will, this might close that. We will be right back.
I think I'll take up smoking. Never have before. To keep my fingers busy and my body off the floor. programmed from my youth. That I don't make my choices or consider other views. And the truth is, and the truth is, oh, the truth is that I got a little drunk last night and lost all of my clothes. And woke up with you on my mind. I'll never let you know. Done to me, done to me, done to me, done to me. What have you done to me? Done to me, done to me. What have you done to me? Done to me, done to me. What have you done to me? Done to me, done to me. Oh, 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 oh.
This is a song from my record that's going to be coming out soon. It's called I Never Will. So many faces, young and old, up on the wall. Where did they go? And why do I care? Got my own heart to fill. Someone will miss them, but I never will. I never will. Too many names I try to recall. They all sound the same after we're gone. And how should I feel? I'm a stranger still. Someone will cry for them, but I never will. I never will. And how much have I been blind to? Only because I never knew you. And all of my own you. I never will. I can't forget you. I never will. I can't forget you. I never will. I never will. I never will. I never will. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. That's our show for tonight. Thank you everyone that's here, and we will see you next time. You guys keep playing.